Hello and welcome to the final day of Ludi Week 4 here. I have got Cactus with me, I am Brave, and we will be commentating this Div 8 Week 4 set, 4 of a Kind versus Cheese Factor. Cactus, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty excited to see these teams go off, and looking a little bit at the matches that these teams have gone up against so far. 4 of a Kind right now, doing fantastic so far up to this Ludi season. 3-0, only dropping 2 games. Besides that, they've been able to clear their way so far. Looking on the other side for Cheese Factor, they're 2-1. But some pretty strong wins on their end, and both teams only struggled a little bit against one other team in their group, Mafia Croissant. So it's going to be very exciting to see both of these teams go head-to-head today in the best of 9.
Yeah, this is going to definitely matter for playoffs, for who makes playoffs. It is not just a set that is, of course, for just any... What's the word? Just for the sake of playing it out. It really will matter to who is making it to playoffs, and that is great to see late into week 4, because normally by this time you kind of have a really cemented, at least 50% of the groups or so are pretty cemented in who's going to be making playoffs, and so we've got an exciting set here today.
Yeah, absolutely. For 4 of a Kind, an extra win just solidifies you a higher seed in the placement. As like I said before, right now they're sitting at the top of their group. But for Cheese Factor, this is one of those sets that if you lose it, your chances are slimmer and slim to making it to playoffs. So every win is going to count. And I know here Cheese Factor is looking to secure this win and give themselves a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a higher chance securing that playoff spot, because not only do the amount of games you win per set matter, but those set wins matter so much more, and that's exactly what they're looking to do here today.
Yep, absolutely, because looking at the bracket for Cheese Factor to be able to make playoffs, it's looking like they are going to have to beat 4 of a Kind here in this set, as well as perform very well in round 5 to force a 3-way 4-1 tiebreaker, at which point it would kind of be a toss-up. You'd have to go some further rules to figure out which 2 of those teams will be making it to playoffs, but they really need to secure the set if they want a chance to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always the thing they mention, right, in your sets during Ludi. It's win as many games as you can, even if you don't win those sets. As like you said, once you get down to the nitty-gritty there, once all the sets are finished up, any rescheduled matches are set, game, and done, you're going to want to have the highest win percentage if you do run into any of those situations where you do have 2 3-way ties, looking at to who's going to make that final spot in playoffs if the first team already is securing it pretty nicely and close to a landslide.
Yep, 4 of a Kind doing really well in their group, does kind of have that landslide right now. Like you were saying, they are definitely looking to be the top seed right now out of their group, and even if they do lose this set, it looks like they would still be the top seed as long as they win week 5. Because they have the least amount of game losses out of these folks, out of these 3 potential 3-way tie groups, teams rather, in Group F. So there's a lot of numbers and kind of like stats going at play here with this set.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like looking at it here, like you said, their record right now, win to loss, is 14 game wins to 9 game losses. The only team that comes close enough to that are both the teams right next to them. Of course, Mafia Croissant right ahead of them with 17-11, and right under them less than 3, 11-14. So any amount of major wins, be that today and next week as well, would be very key for them to moving a lot higher up in the team securing a spot for those playoffs to keep playing this Ludi season. Looking a little bit to give information about these teams that we do have here today. I'll start off with 4 of a Kind. So a little bit of an info about them. They formed August of 2024 and got going gradually into the scene, with the first proper tournament being November's LSL. Runs a traditional anchor support of 2 front line, core to great success, and they've won every Ludi match, like I said this far in the season.
Yeah, and I love their team's name, and their icon aesthetic, It looks to me like playing cards. Dude, I love playing cards. I love all sorts of different games that come with it, and I just love the aesthetic they've got going with their team.
Yeah, and I also love cheese factors too. It's just a squid enjoying a giant block of cheese. And to give you a little information about them, they have a comp primarily consisting of a Stamper, Heavy Edit, T-Tech, and either Dually Sculptures or Wiper. A pretty unique comp choice, and they've been experimenting with other playstyles as of late alongside their trademark Rushdown style, which should be pretty interesting to see into Four of a Kinds match that has a traditional anchor support system. You know, one of those types of comps that, you know, once they get going, and if you're unable to put that stop to them, it might be a little bit hard to come back with a comp like Four of a Kinds.
Yeah, it's looking like I'm interested to see like how T-Tech, what kind of cheese factor are we doing here? Are we having the Wiper flank on Clams? Are we like throwing a ton of bombs at the Rainmaker shield for Instapop? I'm really interested to see what kind of cheese they will be going for in this set.
Absolutely, and let's look at the mazes that they will have to go through, or otherwise known as the maps. First one they're going to be having to challenge each other on is going to be Zones on Hagglefish Market. A map that might be a little catered more towards Four of a Kind with their anchor system they've built for their comps. You know, having a backline set up on that tent area or TP or whatever anyone loves to call it could be pretty detrimental to holding that zone. You know, as much as you know, cheese factors comps run, like you said before, if they're able to throw a lot of bombs into like other modes, here's another map mode that would do great for those bomb usages, right? Especially trying to move their anchor off of their strong position holds.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see how the flanks are going to be gotten off with this Four of a Kind like backline against the Four of a Kind backline, because with cheese factor, if we are seeing use of the left and right flanks, if like the backline is going to be wary of when they are and when they are not going, because the backline will have to support their other players that are painting the zone, going through mid, and at the same time be wary of the flanks on each of those side lanes. It'll be great to see how that plays out.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I feel like this is one of those maps that a lot of players don't take much advantage of those side flanks. I personally like to call them just like the wings of the map, right? They're just on those sides, and if you forget about those or forget to check those for even a second, any good flank weapon or player that's going to be taking use of those sides can really put a detriment into the type of hold or push you're getting onto the other team, whether that's holding the zone for more lead points or it's trying to fight back from the defensive side. It's going to be a challenge regardless, as long as we, you know, hopefully see some of these players taking advantage of either side, really. You know, before we did, I did mention that Cheese Factor has the potential for a Wiper player. So maybe taking the opposite side that has that ledge that you can't easily just hop onto, just to have that kind of ledge chip damage, could be doing a lot of work for them.
Yeah, for sure. Wiper under the tent, Wiper on ledges, of course, is so strong. Not quite as much range as Stamper being able to do the same thing, but still very oppressive. You cannot safely be near that drop, or any drop really, if the Wiper is set up there. Of course, Torp also going to help out in those situations, just add another level of mental stack for the team that is needing to defend, or rather push the defense and get the Wiper off those drops. And also having the drops like on the left wing, as you say, like left lane, there's where Roller and Carbon like to set up at the beginning of this kind of game, and the Wiper can go down there and do that as well over there. So I'm curious to see if they do go Wiper, if they are going to be hanging out there at all during this game.
Absolutely. Something I'd love to see, I know Cheese Factor puts it that they love to run T-Tech, but either from Four of a Kind as well, maybe they see if they love running some kind of strike support player. This is a map where the zone itself can be very easily capped with the strikes as long as they're timed properly. You know, Reef Live Cheese, of course, everyone knows, and beg to differ if you love it or truly or not. But it strikes that as well that could cap that zone instantly as long as it's used properly. So we could see a lot of potential for these players to try to take very smart plays and positions to make sure that they're able to, whether it's for a second, just flip that zone to buy themselves more time, or it's to just keep that hold, prolonging their countdown to hopefully complete a full knockout.
Yeah, knockout's going to be the name of the game here, especially with how the points are going to matter for Cheese Factor, because if they get a knockout, that's a full 100 points, and also it kind of stops Four of a Kind from getting any points on the board in terms of their like Ludi score. If it goes down to it in the rules, the scores will end up mattering, as if game counts are tied or if there's not a clear tiebreaker, then the score is also used as well. And being able to get those knockouts, even if it's 99 to 100, that 99 just gets completely erased from the enemy team and it's just 100-0 instead.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cheese Factor is going to want to take every game possible. I can imagine from their perspective looking down, pretty much the barrel of Four of a Kind right now. You have a team that's coming at you 3-0 right now in Ludi. You have the potential to be the first team in your group to take a set off of them. If not, like I mentioned before, both of these teams struggled only against one other team thus far, and that was a team right between them is Mafia Croissant. So that's something that they could use to their advantage of their mindset, right? Is knowing like, you know what, we struggled a little bit against that team, but so did they, and we were able to have such a good match against it. Almost winning it. Mafia Croissant beat Cheese Factor 5-4, so went to a full game 9. So that's very promising. And if I'm Cheese Factor, I'm looking at this as saying there's still a chance, there's still hope, and even if maybe we don't win the set, we have opportunity to win plenty of games this set.
Man, those game 9s get so intense. I've personally had 2 game 9s this Ludi season, and they just get so intense in the voice chat with you and your teammates, whether someone is tilting a little or whether everyone's really excited. And it's not tilt, but it's just energy. It's just fire, passion. Game 9s are always super fun to play out through.
Oh, absolutely. I think the hardest thing is remembering in the earlier games not to get too excited, because as I myself have coached a handful of teams, and one of the teams I currently coach, something I'm always reminding them of is, if you're only within the first 2-3 games, and maybe it's 2-1, maybe it's 3-0, whatever the score might be, like let's not get too excited like it's grand finals right now. Like, let's make sure we keep the energy consistent, and then maybe once we're at the final game to win it, or up to the game 9, absolutely go ballistic, right? Those comps could get crazy as long as they're making sense and as long as we're understanding them. I myself have been in some of those cases as well, where it's just like you're at those moments where like this is the last game you need, whether you're in a strong lead with games won or not. It's just the adrenaline rush that takes over for you there, and you just gotta remember to stay calm, keep collected, and focus the objective together.
Yeah, that's a good point with the energy, because it also kind of reminds me that these best of 9 sets, they are very long, longer than anything you'll play in a tournament, and even potentially 2 games longer than, say, a Sendoku set. They are so long that if you are trying to keep up that high energy for every single game, every 5 minute, and you end up going to game 9, you will be very tired and less likely to be able to keep up that high energy that you've been trying to keep up the entire time, and could lead to some exhaustion there. And so it's definitely important to pace yourself as well within these Ludi sets.
Absolutely, especially for those teams too. There are some teams out there that like to practice a little bit before their match, right? Whether that's open, maybe you get a scrim. That's another factor to keep. Something in general to keep in factor of, because that's already, however many games you're practicing that scrim, whether it's an hour before, a half hour before, you're already trying to get warmed up, and then you have longevity of up to 9 games. Like you said, it could be very taxing And one thing is always to make sure to do is take those little breaks in between those games, right? You have a full minute to choose your weapons you want to choose for that map mode, to set yourselves up, choose that gear. Take that full minute for granted, making sure you're, grabbing water, maybe snacking on something shortly, maybe stretching, right? A lot of times, a lot of players get too into what they're doing during the set and don't remember to just stretch a little bit. Last thing you need is to be cramping up while you're in the middle of a set or something, or not being comfortable, because those are the outside factors while you're playing your set that no one really accounts for, so it's always good to make sure of.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much stuff outside of the game that end up affecting the game as well. And it's kind of why my team likes to not necessarily warm up a whole hour before. But it looks like we finally have our match. We were just waiting on one person to get here. And so we are going to start game one off, like we've mentioned many times, on Hagel Splat Zones. We do have that Headit and Stamper on both sides now, actually. Stamper on both sides is pretty interesting. We'll have some Zipcasters harassing these backlines and other players with all of the mobility that they provide. We have everyone, one goes down already on 4 of a Kind, and that's going to give man advantage to Cheese Factor, who gets the first cap of zone, and we are going to now have Cooler on the side of 4 of a Kind.
Yeah, I do love the Forge coming out too from 4 of a Kind. That Booyah can be very strong here, and right now you are going to see that player try to rush on in from Cheese Factor, get picked off, but they're back fast. It's cool. Look at this movement seeing right now on the map right here. Barely surviving out there was that T-Tech, and it's going to be Cheese Factor still in control of this zone, really holding back the members of 4 of a Kind as long as they can. Weeabum will go on out though on the side, push these player back. Here come the strikes to push on forward, and that will be the first cap of the game for 4 of a Kind.
Yeah, they are going to go ahead and push this player, a 2v1 pinching all the way past ramp, decides to not go ahead because the Stamper has been harassing the Pencil and also gets the pick on the Forge, who tries to come back and help. Is going to get traded out though by the T-Tech. This Crab now harassing the T-Tech and is forced to go out. Does not die, which is huge. Now able to really throw bombs and still show pressure and pressions, not allowing Cheese Factor to just rush through zone. Very huge live here by the T-Tech, and now is going to be able to push out those strikes as well.
I really like that use of the strikes there. Just try to push those players back a little bit. Just try to hold that zone a little bit more. Unfortunately, the Cheese Factor was going to be able to swap that zone around. Unfortunately, Splash goes down right before they can have their Crab special ready, which would have been really nice to extend their hold off. But you are going to see the Dually Sculptures here popping that Wave Breaker, applying a little bit of pressure with the range the weapon itself has. They're going to be trying to count down these penalty points as much as they can, but the strikers are going to come on out as a rebuttal from 4 of a Kind here. Try to push this zone on back. Can they get it in time? It's not looking just like it just yet. These players are still barely alive from Cheese Factor, but fortunately the zone will flip back over. And just like that, immediately though, Cheese Factor has a quick answer, getting a lot of these players down from 4 of a Kind.
Yeah, it looks like they've been able to really not even have to do a retake. They've been holding their advantage. There was a lot of mid-fights going on there. We've seen the Zip come out multiple times from both teams at this point, and I was so confused how the Crab died earlier, but it was to a Zipcaster that I couldn't see off screen. And we are now going to see this Booyah come out, try to help a little bit with retake, pinching these people, and it is going to go ahead and help the Forge with the help of Zip taking out the Headit. Going to go down to the Stamper though, as Cheese Factor is able to really just kind of stagger this team to get even more and more points with this Crab. It's going to be much harder for anyone to push in the zone. The strikes coming out to counter it are going to help a lot, but with 2 going down, this is going to be looking very good for Cheese Factor. It's only the Stamper. We have a Stamper duo, and Cheese Factor remains victorious there in the 1v1. It's looking like Cheese Factor now is going to have a very solid position to take game 1 here, and they do.
Wonderful plays from Cheese Factor there, making sure they're taking care of those findings at the very end there. I loved that Crab positioning in the center. Immediately take out the big painter there, which was the Pencil on that tent, and the rest followed suit. Cheese Factor taking a very great game 1 in this best of 9 set. Truly incredible.
Yeah, that is a very great look for them to be able to start that strong against 4 of a Kind. Getting a knockout, like I was mentioning earlier, the 100-0 is really, really good for them for the rest of this set, especially for the mental game.
Absolutely. Right now, already they know that they are able to take on what Four of a Kind is going to throw at them, at least on zones, right? That map was pretty consistently back and forth for a while, but it wasn't until that end of that countdown for their points where Cheese Factor was really able to just lock in a strong offense and hold it there. Four of a Kind now, you had a little bit of a challenge with that game, but maybe things will turn around as the next map mode we're going to be going to is going to be a tower control on Mako Mart.
Yeah, we're going to be changing modes here. They won't just be painting this square. They're going to have to move around the objective. The objective moving is going to be really key because they have to secure different positions at different timings, and it can make it a lot more difficult than simply painting the exact same location. You really have to be thinking about where we really want to take for, say, a given checkpoint, or securing a specific defensive or offensive area so that no players end up becoming a problem for their push or for their defense. And that is going to be a pretty big factor here on Mako Mart, especially with, say, the second checkpoint. You're surrounded by a lot of high ground and a lot of places where the defenders can drop. But if you're able to secure the top right, like plat area, then you can provide pressure from there, kind of get people looking away from tower, and get a much easier second checkpoint.
Absolutely, and that's the one thing that's going to be different here is that you can't rush forward as easily, right? You gotta wait for that tower to hit through those checkpoints and make sure you're kind of, in a sense, securing a circle around it, making sure that tower has no problem going forward. We are seeing a little bit of a comp change from both sides here. The Wiper is going to be coming on out from the side of Cheese Factor, and Four of a Kind switched up their comp pretty much completely. I'm seeing a 52 gal, we're seeing a splatter shot, a machine, and the heavy edit. So a lot of comp changes up here, and so far it's in Four of a Kind's favor. 3 players down already, 4th one being rushed on out. Tower is going to be taken, Cooler will be thrown out. It's crushed by the tower, unfortunately, there. But they're going to keep this running up to the first checkpoint.
I chuckled when I saw that Cooler. I was like, is that going to disappear? And then it did, and I was like, oh, I wonder. Yep, there it goes. It looks like we're going to have 2 down, though, now from Cheese Factor. Just kind of dropping, kind of feeding this tower, trying to not get them to get check 1 or past this plat, but it's going to allow them to be able to more easily get towards the second checkpoint with all the staggered. Going to go down, though, to burst bombs there is going to be good for Cheese Factor's defense. They do go ahead and get 2 down, and still now rushing this sloshing as well, and any potential jumps or drops for help. It looks like the sloshing is really the only one in mid, and now getting pressured by Crab is going to go ahead and go down. Everyone else, mostly from spawn, a little bit of a late gambit from the gal trying to come and help the sloshing, but it looks like off screen 3 members of Cheese Factor go down, leaving only the Wiper, and that is going to kind of be an end of a potential push for Cheese Factor.
Yeah, gotta give props to Cheese Factor there, right? Stopping that push from Four of a Kind where they got almost to that second checkpoint. We're going to see the 52 here trying to fight off the Wiper here on the side, but they're going to be picked off as well by the edit 2v1 situation. Not where you want to be in, but for Cheese Factor. Nice trade on the edit there. They're going to secure you. Now a 3v1 situation as the 52 is the first to come back in. They're going to take the rail, but as soon as they come back, Machine goes down. This looks like it's Cheese Factor's opportunity to get a push going. They will pop Crab on that right stack. They will ride that tower. The shot, though, from behind that takes down 1, takes down 2. It's only going to be 1 player left alive for Cheese Factor. Four of a Kind putting a very quick stop to their push.
Yeah, they did not really know about that shot flank at all, and the shot had the shots very, very nicely. Secured both the headed kill, but then also in the scramble, able to get the Stamper even after being bursted at the feet, and has, like, Stamper has that range advantage, but Shot able to take that fight and win it was huge. We are now seeing the Shot just fight the Wiper with the help of the sloshing, but sloshing does go down. We see them backing a little bit. Unfortunately, Gal also going to go down, and right now, Four of a Kind are a little bit coolerless, a little bit losing out, because earlier the Headed did die at 97 cooler, and I do not believe I've seen a cooler since then. So all of these staggers and deaths have been in the favor of Cheese Factor. We have 3 specials online right now, and the hammer is going to go ahead and get popped over there on that right sneaky. We are being pushed, though, by Gal on left, and it looks like that hammer is going to get not as much value as possibly hoped when popped.
Yeah, I love the use of specials from Cheese Factor, right? Getting a lot of these players pushed on back, making sure we're causing a lot of damage here. In a sense, staggering Four of a Kind, but If you've noticed, the tower hasn't yet even touched that first checkpoint yet. Hopefully now this will be the first checkpoint reach they were looking for, but it took them quite some time before they could even get close to it. This heavy is playing very careful around the tower, but you do have cooler, so it looks you should be worth to take this checkpoint very clearly, as you do have a lot of your teammates surrounding you, able to help push a lot of the rest of the players back, camp those ledges, create that space. First checkpoint will be cleared here. Crab to apply more pressure here. Can they keep going forward? No, one player must have flanked around. It's going to be 3 players down for Cheese Factor, and that's going to put an end to that push.
Yeah, I was surprised. I saw that crab. I saw 2 players cornered, and I was like, this is huge for Cheese Factor. But then, suddenly from the flank, it must have been the shot or the remaining 3rd player that was really able to clean up, make that crab turn around, and stop Cheese Factor's push entirely. They did get first check, and that was awesome for them because it'll allow them to get a faster lead later. But they are still going to have to get the picks necessary to try and set up again. Right now, we have a lot of fights going on in mid, and with a Booyah and a Wiper here, that is going to look like a 4-of-a-kind victory there for Teamfight. But it looks like that was a 90 from the crab. Doesn't quite get the pick afterwards because is getting pushed by the Gal. And they have that wall set up. And now we have 3 people looking left. We have left fight with the Gal. Takes out the Wiper and decides to go ahead and leave. That is going to leave 4-of-a-kind at a nice, like, staggered advantage here.
Yeah, with only 20 seconds left to go right now, Cheese Factor's a little bit on the back pedal. They do have a good amount of mid space. Mid actually right now is kind of shared between both of these teams for that paint coverage, for that space. 2 players go down here for the side of 4-of-a-kind. Cheese Factor's got to go on out, make that a little bit of a delayed wipe, as you are going to see that edit jump on out. 52 will go down. We are in overtime. Crabs on tower applying pressure to the edit. They're going to keep pushing forward as the Booyah one's going to come on out. Can they stop these players rushing the tower in time? No! 4-of-a-kind sneaks away that win of game number 2 with a little bit of Booyah cheese.
Yeah, they got that GG Booyah with 3 teammates all storming the tower just at the perfect time. Was not able to be stopped by Cheese Factor at all, and just a few points away from lead. They are going to go ahead and lose game 2, bringing it to an even 1-1.
Yeah, that was a great play, honestly, from 4-of-a-kind. That was a very close game, too. I think that actually got down to a matter of 4 or 5 points before switching over for Cheese Factor. Honestly, overall, a very close game. I think for the side of Cheese Factor, there might have been a few moments where they could have played a lot faster, a lot more consistent to have secured a lead back over, because their defense was excellent. They fought off 4-of-a-kind for pretty much the entire game once their first push went on through, but they were just unable to really use their resources to create that longevity push to get that lead. So great props on the side of 4-of-a-kind, keeping consistent, staying strong after that pretty much one and done push. No need for another. Just a long game of defense.
Yeah, and great defense from both teams it was, as neither team really was able to push that second checkpoint at all. And of course, that plat was so important to that, as no one ever really got the opposing team's plat, where after checkpoint 1 the tower kind of goes by it. They were always able to hold it with their from spawn teammates, with their full ink and like armor from spawn, all that great stuff. Being able to hold that defensive position worked out for really like stalling and not letting the second check even be touched. But unfortunately, that is going to leave Cheese Factor at a 1-1. They do lose their advantage in game count here. And next we are going to be seeing Rainmaker on Undertow Spillway. Cactus, do you have any particular thoughts about this map mode combination?
It is very fast, and it does not matter how close you push. And knockout and a comeback from the other team is doable. I always tell teams, and when I see it all the time or when I commentate it, if you get a really strong push, you better hope your defense is spot on and just keep that Rainmaker as far away from your side of it as possible. And I mean, looking at these comp changes a little bit, we're going to see 4-of-a-kind take out the Nautilus, which is a very exciting switch up. This applies a lot of pressure here, a lot of great mid-range pressure and consistency pushing on forward. As you're going to see right here, get a quick pick on 1 before backing up and 1 take another challenge.
Yeah, no, I was thinking early on, like, ooh, switching to Nautilus with 3 short-range shooters, this Nautilus is really going to have to pop off for Four of a Kind to be able to secure this game. But as I am thinking that, they immediately are able to get 3 at the beginning of this game. So maybe they will prove my thoughts wrong, but I'm thinking that 3 short-range shooters may struggle in these fights against the Headit and Double Sword in the long term. Now we have 3 down on the side of Cheese Factor. Four of a Kind are going to go ahead and move towards that first checkpoint. And with the Stamper just going down as well, that is going to be an easy check for Four of a Kind.
Absolutely. Easy check indeed. And they're still going. They were able to chain those specials and chain these players able to get on down. They're going to choose to go across the graded area and try to push on forward, but these strikes are going to force them back. They're going to barely survive this. The rest of the players on Four of a Kind are just able to support and get these players down. Rainmaker going all the way down to 15 points remaining. As we saw one of those players on Cheese Factor try to come around and flank that out, but was not successful in time. Thankfully, that push stopped all the way down though to 15. Against a comp like Four of a Kind, might be a little bit more difficult to get all the way back through. As right now, Four of a Kind doing a fantastic job at holding so much pressure, followed with the wipeout.
Yeah, they are going to be able to start holding this Rainmaker on the opposite side of the map of Cheese Factor really wants here and be able to really stall it. And if they, of course, mess up and get wiped out, they get a knockout, but they do not. They provide a very good wipeout for their defense, and they're going to have Cooler for their next push as well. Looks like everyone is pushing in, going to go ahead and let that Rainmaker reset, just paint up in the meantime, get some specials, see if they can punish any early drops or any early aggression from Four of a Kind. But we are going to go ahead and now see the Suka getting a little stranded and does go down to a combination of the Wiper and the strikes. And we have 3 on the grass, really able to take this left area and move towards that first checkpoint for Cheese Factor.
Yeah, Cheese Factor doing a decent job right now, getting some good picks. I noticed that most of the players were behind, but unfortunately one of the extra front lines will go down there, so Rainmaker gets stopped all the way at 74. They do spot one player sharking around, and they are able to win that fight, getting a nice 52 tap with the 52 onto that player who was sharking, and now it's back in Four of a Kind's favor. A sliding bomb, though, will take down that 52. It's going to be Cheese Factor still holding good control in mid, using those strikes to back up that Rainmaker a little bit more consistently here. The Stamper's going to look for this 1v1 on the side, but back to this Rainmaker, right? Trying to find a way back out of the spawn area, and honestly, just continuously launching shots, which is exactly what you want to see your Rainmaker do. Keep a lot of pressure, throw a lot of pain on the ground for your teammates to move around, and getting 2 nice picks in the process. 20 seconds left on Rainmaker's count, but their goal right now for Four of a Kind, just get it far away from your spawn as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And with this being all the way left now, with only 8 seconds, but all the way on the enemy's grass, this is going to be very, very good for Four of a Kind. They are going to explode here really soon, which is going to give a lot of paint there, but gets a trade on the way out is very good for Four of a Kind.
Oh, I love seeing that. That was honestly a very smart play there. Throw a shot, explode as well. Get a nice trade off. We are going to see the Wiper have Hammer ready. Look to see if they can create some kind of opening here. They're going to erase that bomb, throw it, see if they can get a pick with that new 200 hitbox. Unfortunately not. They're trying to throw a torpedo, get a nice pinch off here, but unfortunately they cannot spot that last player who backed all the way up, and they will get picked off for that in a 2v1 situation. Now with less than a minute on to the clock, Four of a Kind keeping up this aggression, keeping up their player base. Azuka is going to finish off one player to try to get this Wiper. Can they survive in time? Yes, they will. Barely escaping that as they're going to look to pinch one here. One will go down. Another 2v1 on the side. It's going to be player advantage for Cheese Factor, but with jumps coming on for Four of a Kind, don't think they're going to be able to take too much of advantage of that so quickly.
No, they're going to need to be able to, they're going to have to get this first check and almost like get 2 full wipeouts to be able to win this game. With Stamper going down, they do have specials for it, both strikes and hammer, but it's just going to be difficult. They do go ahead and kill the Gao, and we have a Nautilus trying to push Rainmaker here with the Nautilus's Rain, and is still behind the Rainmaker right now, forcing the shot to go all the way back and kind of give up this position in grass to the other team. They do get 2 before going down though, and in overtime this Rainmaker has 2 guards right now, but we are going to still need to see a lot more picks from Cheese Factor if they want to get the lead.
Oh, but the zap from behind is able to take them out, and I was just seeing it. Now that Rainmaker had less than 15 seconds left on that count. It was a do or die situation there, and unfortunately the zap able to get a pick on the bodyguard surrounding that Rainmaker, and then the Rainmaker itself ending that game there. It's going to now be 4 of a kind, 2-1 in this set.
Yeah, they really reversaled. They have the advantage now. You can see there the Zap winning a very key fight against the Stamper. Stamper missing its one shot on the Zap there, and that really painted the Rainmaker's feet to really end overtime there. Huge play by the Zap, and that is going to, of course, lead 4 of a kind into the advantage going into the next mode, which is Scorch Clam Blitz.
Scorch Clam Blitz. It's always when you're pushing this, hoping those clam spots are in your favor. I'm really curious to see what kind of comp 4 of a kind is going to switch up to with now here, because I feel like every game they've swapped at least 2 weapons from their comp, and it's worked so far, right? That one first game might have been just a little bit of a fluke. Maybe the jitters were getting the best of them, but they've come to play now, taking the next 2 games in a row. Chiefs Factor, I don't think really has switched up their comp too much, but I wonder if it might be time to switch at least one of those weapons to find another type of counter, especially something on like Clam Blitz.
Yeah, they've had the double sword for the past 2 games, but it just has not worked out either game, and it makes me wonder if they need some more flexibility in the movement. I do believe swords have a lot of good movement, but sometimes you just need a short shooter to be able to paint your feet and just splat dash out of there. And splat dash in, use cooler, do some crazy things, especially on Clam Blitz, can be a lot faster than swords, and that may be hurting Cheese Factor at the moment. And so I'm wondering if they will be going back to their game 1 pick or not. But regardless, I'm still excited to see Clam Blitz because I love this objective. I love this game mode and all of the team coordination, team communication that it requires. It's always super hype in overtime when there's suddenly a jump behind. As the casters, of course. I don't know about the players. On the defending team, they might be a little upset that they didn't catch a flank, but as a commentator, it is extremely hyped to see that sort of gameplay come out on this game mode.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if you're the offensive team. You love to see that pick too. We are going to see a blaster pick come on out. And yes, okay, I was hoping we would see this. The Dually Squelchers returning for Cheese Factor. That Wave Breaker might be the answer they're looking for to stop a lot of this frontline aggression from 4 of a kind. That is a great pick, and I hope we see a lot of good use out of it. Gives them a little bit more range as well. As you see already there, the Dually Squelcher is getting a little bit of damage tapped onto one player. Looking for a pick here, but they're going to get, unfortunately, pinched off here. But I love the comp switch up from both sides here. A lot of opportunity to go on in, use great specials. This could be a very close game if gone correctly.
Yeah, we've got Pencil here able to get a lot more paint further and deeper into the enemy's plat, and of course on this top mid area is also gonna really bait that crab out. Not getting killed by it is super strong, as now the crab is gonna have to look for other enemies to target, and with that bubble it is looking like the value of the crab is now out and a little bit in the favor of 4 of a kind with that bubble, but they do go 2 down, and it is now a 2v2 with the splash and another support shooter on the side of 4 of a kind returning, wondering if they're going to be jumping in or swimming it out. Either way, we just have a lot of mid scraps going on here, and it is going to go in the favor of 4 of a kind. They do just get 1 pick on the splash, and then another on the Headit and Dually Squelchers. That is going to let 4 of a kind really push up here and have 6 clams on the elbow.
Yeah, a lot of great space being taken here. A lot of players are just throwing clams, not really coordinating who's picking what up. We are going to see 2 players go on down, but they do hold those quick jumps in for 4 of a kind to keep this push going forward. Zip will be out as a counter from Cheese Factor, getting a 1 pick off there. It is now a 3v3 on both sides. Can this Edit win this fight? No, Tita gets a surprise and gets the pick on him. Now this is going to be a 3-player down situation, and 4 of a kind will be the first ones to score this game.
Yeah, it was looking like they were a bit too timid to score earlier, but they were able to go ahead and get a triple, which is kind of the nail in the coffin. That is going to be such a strong position for 4 of a kind that really anyone will be able to walk that clam ball in. this T-Tech trying to get a little bit more clams, unable to, is going to get shot down by the 4 people all looking, and that is going to give Cheese Factor kind of all amid. There's really no beacons or anything to stop them, and with Crab coming out on top tower and no flanks for it is going to give a lot of value here for them to try and get Elbow. Unfortunately, going down to the Blaster, trying to push off that Crab, and is going to get even more value as it helps so many more team fights. It's only a splash left in the bubble here on the side of Cheese Factor. They are going to live, and they are already more than half to Crab, almost having yet another Crab. It feels like they just used it, but they are going to have another one for this next team fight that is online with these coolers. Strikes, though, backing them up is going to force the Crab kind of onto Snipe, and 4 of a Kind looking to get one. The Gal does go ahead and get one, pushing everyone back here with their wall, and with another on the splash, that is going to force Cheese Factor to try and get this ball a little bit later, and it's looking like 4 of a Kind is going to get a good push here.
Yeah, that was a great defense from 4 of a Kind, able to push a lot of this forward. They're going to score and open the basket once more, and then follow suit with a couple more clams to score down to 49 points, building more up. Players looking to jump on in. They will pop cooler here. Oh, but it's only the pencil up left alive. Not sure if any of their teammates are going to be able to fall in to grab that cooler, with that Crab have being used by Cheese Factor to open up that space a little bit more. Now they do have a Zip Caster ready. They are looking for a play here. They are going to camp this, and they knew one player would at least go for it, and they will get one. Unfortunately, that cooler doesn't act on them pretty quickly there, so they are back fast. But I don't know if that was a good enough use for that cooler there. Unfortunately, down goes Zipcaster. Crab applying more pressure. Cheese Factor trying to find just a little bit of an opening just to try to get one push in.
This Pencil has really got this Headit locked down. They can't even really set up top mid because the Pencil's just going to outrange, and Headit can't hit Snipe from that far back on top mid. It's really being a detriment right now for Cheese Factor, and that Pencil is really applying this pressure, and with the Blaster helping, that is going to force the Headit to back up all the way to ramp. Does get a little bit of tap on the Blaster as the rest of 4 of a Kind cleans up the rest of Cheese Factor, not having that backline support.
Yeah, I mean, let's just look at this pressure this Blaster is doing. A nice double there, looking for a third. They might be able to camp this jump. They are going to get one. They're looking for another. They will bubble. That's going to be 4 in a row. They're looking for one more across this ledge here. The Blaster absolutely popping off right now, allowing this basket to be opened a third time for 4 of a Kind, as you are going to see the Stamper from behind trying to cause some trouble. The Blaster getting another pick as the rest of their teammates are scoring these clams, looking to go forward. They will score one. They're trying to get a pick on here. They will get another one. Do they have the clams to put in? They do. Can any teammates get in and finish the job off? No. But with only about 15 seconds in overtime left remaining, Cheese Factor is going to throw that power clam up, try to rush these players on in. They have to make a play and go in now, or else there's not going to be a chance to open this basket. But with a lot of this aggressive defense from 4 of a Kind, it's not going to be enough. Cheese Factor unable to make even one score this game. 4 of a Kind winning 3 games in a row.
Yeah, 4 of a Kind looking really strong. I was actually really surprised there on that game-ending screen. Cheese Factor did have a ball and used the Greats to go plat kind of behind. It looks like if overtime was just a little bit longer, they may have gotten that one score. But yes, the lead was simply too much to be. It felt really insurmountable for Cheese Factor. They really had to rush and try to get a ton of picks. Of course, that overtime is also just so short in Clam Blitz, especially when you're starting overtime from your side of the map, because the enemy's just been scoring right up to overtime. Almost makes it impossible to really utilize overtime at all on Clams. But regardless, we are going to be heading towards the next game on Splat Zone's Barnacle Dime. Close here. Cactus, do you think this is Cheese Factor's time to be able to come back, since they were able to run last Splat Zones?
You know, I feel if Cheese Factor sticks to the similar comp they ran both the first game and, of course, this last game we just saw, having the Crab Splash to apply that long-range pressure, keeping those dually sculptures up, especially with that Wavebreaker, I think Cheese Factor has a chance. It's just made it very hard to 100% believe in that, though, with 4 of a Kind's pressure they've been putting on since that second game, the first game that they won. I mean, so far they've been on an incredible win streak, constantly pushing objective forward and getting lots of points gained by it each mode that passes forward. So while I do believe this would be Cheese Factor's opportunity to maybe start turning things around, they're gonna have to find some answers for four of a kind's comp, and maybe less weapon-wise, but more I would say together-wise as a team, and being able to counter a lot of their the plays that Four of a Kind is making, a lot of the movement, a lot of the fight scenarios, just to have a strong answer on it.
Yeah, we have both the Gal and the Shot on Four of a Kind really being a thorn in the side of Cheese Factor, playing the role of Slayer amazingly and just really being able to win their fights and really helping the rest of the team push up and kind of get that objective really thrown out. Here we see both teams kind of going towards mid. You see that Sprinkler in the spawn there, trying to get the early cooler, but it does not matter for the Gal on the side of Four of a Kind as they are going down. That is a classic Gal opening play, trying to go ahead and get that early space, but is going to go down. This is going to give Cheese Factor the first push and first cap, but they do go 2 down, and then with Azuka 3 down, it is going to be pretty easy for Four of a Kind here to get that recap and apply that tiny penalty, but they are still going. They are still pushing all the way up into the enemy's plat and towards their side of like the base and drop. They have strikes. They don't really see anyone contesting any of this space. Even this wave breaker, it's surrounded by yellow ink. It's very hard to push here for Cheese Factor.
Yeah, I mean, Four of a Kind immediately looked like they were in danger at first. They know this, you got the 52 down, they're able to keep pushing forward. But now, Four of a Kind has just been holding forward and keeping this aggression up, putting a bit of a stagger into Cheese Factor. Now we're going to see Cheese Factor try to counter back up. They are able to claim the ramp, they're able to get the 52 down. Unfortunately, their stamper goes down, but hopefully that doesn't matter on too much if they can just get this cap. They are in a slight numbers advantage, having only the pencil up right now. 52 does jump on in. The cap has still not been secured. They're going to end up trading off. Thankfully, that trade, though, will help paint that zone just a little bit more and put it in the favor of Cheese Factor. This crab is going to be popped a little bit lower than I think they would have liked. They would have had a little bit higher elevation, but they will still manage to help get 2 picks now down for Four of a Kind. And now they're the ones being super aggressive here, pushing on it back against Four of a Kind. He's going to try to use strikes to pressure them on out, but just constant pressure being applied, they might be able to hold this for a lead.
Zip gets the kill on the pencil, but the recall does go ahead and take him out, and the Headit gets stuck, leading the other 3 all short-range shooters able to really punish and just kill everyone else on Cheese Factor. They're now able to start really pressuring. They kill the Dually Squelchers in the court. They're pressuring that Stamper all the way to the block, trying to get them to back up all the way back into spawn. And with Cooler, this is looking very favorable for Four of a Kind.
That it is. Strikes coming on out to push on out that crab. That Splash is going to drop forward into just pretty much no inkable space. But thankfully, the Stamper does come back in time to quickly support that, getting 2 key picks there. Now, it is penalty points over for Four of a Kind, so they're counting down real points here. Stamper looking to come off on a side angle, trying to get one, will not be successful in time. They're going to pop a zip to cause a bit of a distraction, and that will be the zone flip back over for Cheese Factor. They do have Crab ready online, so they could really extend this forward if they hold that Crab just a little bit longer up until some of those penalty points count on down. They did make Four of a Kind waste that Zuka, so this Crab can really go forward at being uncontested unless that Splash with those strikes gets the opportunity to. But no! Player advantage still for Cheese Factor, getting 2 players down, including the strike user. This could be huge.
Yeah, at this point, it is looking like the Zuka for Four of a Kind is going to have to pop off, or they are going to lose that lead. And with the Gal going down, no one to really rush in with that Zuka. It is going to go ahead and be a lead fib for Cheese Factor. The strikes is being poked. They are going to go ahead and have to paint over if they do not want to neutralize. They're just playing the painting game, and everyone is scrambling in mid. The end splash does go down, but they do get the penalty on Cheese Factor. Four of a Kind are still in this, and they get the picks required. But the Headit is still alive on the plat. They are going to have to play the longer game to try and knock out to be able to take this game. Cheese Factor doing an amazing job of getting it down to 1.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a close call for Four of a Kind, barely taking on that penalty addition, getting that cap to hold on forward. But now these players of Four of a Kind are kind of just rushing in with no direct plan. They were just rushing on in there, hoping to get a lot of picks and hoping it would work. But unfortunately, you all just kind of grouped together there, and it wasn't enough because you also had the members of Cheese Factor grouped together. They had the Wave Breaker down. They had the aggression together. Now they will get that flip back over and back in their favor for Four of a Kind. Build down those penalty points a little bit more once again. They are going to get those Julius Scorchers down. Strikes come out a little bit early here just to try to create some space. Their shot will go down. 52 being aggressive towards this heavy edit. They try to apply as much pressure as they can, but this edit getting picked off by the 52 gal goes off as a trade. 50 points almost over, and with no specials to their name, Cheese Factor might not be able to make a comeback for this.
Yeah, it is looking like the splash is going to have to pop off with a crab almost instantly. We are going to have everyone just going in. The splash does go in, trades out the gal. Is it enough? They do neutralize. It is so close. They are all fighting in mid, but with the zip, there isn't going to be ink. And Four of a Kind is going to take that game, leaving it 4-1 in their favor.
Oh, the zip call at the end. That is so unfortunate to see. They should have, if anything, if you were low on ink, just pop it to paint that zone. Instead, zipping towards the enemy, especially when your splash is down, your main painter. Oh, that was so unfortunate. Yeah, you could see there low right, the splash goes down to 2 players. They're trying to fight for that zone. But just not enough. Four of a Kind bringing that back all the way down to the 1 point needed, which at that point was pretty much a knockout. Incredible by Four of a Kind, not letting the score tell the tale of the match. And now they're sitting 1 game away from winning this set.
Yeah, no, that yellow crown on the screen does not quite tell the story at all. Cheese Factor getting knocked out, getting 0 points for that is kind of the nail in the coffin, it feels like, for their chances at playoffs, regardless of how the rest of the set goes. But they had a lot, like a glimmering hope. They had shining hope there. We had an amazing play by the Stamper that got them lead in the first place, with the flank on the right lane, and using the plat to really drop into that right street and take all the attention for such a long time. They did a great job of kind of ignoring the zone and just trying to fight the splash in the right flank, in the right street, because it made everyone else turn their attention backwards and really gave the opportunity for the 3 others on Cheese Factor to push into zone and through zone and help get the picks while their backs were turned. It worked out really well in their favor, and it allowed for them to get a really aggressive set up. Even once they did get control, like much further past the zone, they had such a strong advantage there, and it let them get all the way down to 1. It all started with the Stamper's flank and staying alive on that right street. Regardless, though, they do end up losing that game, and we are going into potentially the final game. We are match set here of this Ludi match on tower control ship shape, and they go back to double sword.
I don't know how I feel about that pick. If you looked at the game so far, the Julius Scorcher addition with the splash is really putting a number against Four of a Kind, but you know what? Maybe they see something that I don't, and maybe they will be able to pull this off, because like we saw the last tower control game, all it took was Four of a Kind to get 1 or 2, actually just 1 good push forward in the beginning, and so far history seems to be repeating itself, as right now it is Four of a Kind in control of that tower, in control of most of mid. But Cheese Factor doing a great job so far, countering a lot of this push that I thought Four of a Kind was going to have. As long as they could try to keep most of the players back, they might be able to keep it away. But unfortunately, 2 will go down, and Four of a Kind will be the first team to this first checkpoint.
Yeah, it looks like Four of a Kind is really trying to seal the deal here. With those strikes, no one is really on plat to contest this check 1 at all, and with only 1 special online for Cheese Factor on defense, it is looking really rough. We also have Azuka coming out, getting a pick on 2. That is going to be 2 offensive specials not online for Cheese Factor on this retake. They only have a crab. It is going to go ahead and get popped, but it is not quite. It does go ahead and help get the gal down, but Four of a Kind's on this final checkpoint with a lot of momentum here.
That they are. This last checkpoint is going to be secured. 2 players down for Cheese Factor. They're trying their best to put a lot of pressure on this tower. Will it be enough in time? Barely. It's only the pencil alive. They're all on the tower, and it stopped with 2 points remaining. Cheese Factor secures a full wipeout onto Four of a Kind, and stopping them right at 2 points before a complete knockout. And now Cheese Factor wasting no time to take this space, as they have such a long way to push this tower.
Yeah, and with Hammer and the Stamper both in this area. They are trying to do the right thing. They are trying to secure that top right so they can get to check one, but the tower now just getting into mid is really, really harmful for Cheese Factor. It took such a long time for that tower to get back that it was too late and the fights were already lost for them to get, but they do go ahead and get 2 on 4 of a kind, and with this pencil being in this odd aggro position, that is going to allow everyone to really push up here and get a lot of space. We do see the Wiper on and with the Zip as well, they are able to secure this good positioning and have a very good shot at getting check one here with that Crab that is going to go ahead and secure it entirely, and they are in a good position. They 3 down as well. Strikes are only going to stall tower. This is going to be super, super good for Cheese Factor as long as they are staying hidden and are not an obvious pick for these 3 people coming back from spawn. It is looking like they are going to get all the way to the next checkpoint to try and start pushing that top right area.
Yeah, and it's going to try to play aggressive angle. Unfortunately, get picked off immediately. It's going to be 2v2 now on the map here. A lot of these players trading out between both sides. That was a really good push by Cheese Factor, but 4 of a kind was able to put a little bit of that defense in time. You know, those strikes earlier, doing a great job to stall that tower on purpose to allow the rest of their teammates to come on back in. And they're doing the same thing again here. Use those strikes to stall it forward. Try to get a lot of these players from Cheese Factors out of the way. Here comes a flank by the Splash, but they do spot it in time and get Todd punished out. If they could keep up this momentum and punishing a lot of these players, they might be able to just push us all the way to the last checkpoint. Another player from behind trying to flank gets called out, gets picked off immediately. They are sitting at this last checkpoint. You're going to see the Wiper here try to flank on out the pencil, and they will find them. Yes, they will. It's a 1v1 situation. It's only the Splash, I believe, alive, and as they are in their spawn, it's going to be a lot of jump-ins trying to come on out. Bomb takes out 2 on the tower, though, and that's going to be most likely the halt of that push, as now the 52 plays aggression here, only the Stamper left alive from Cheese Factor.
Yeah, we've got this 1v1, and we need jumps in for this Stamper to help. It looks like we're choosing to swim it out, though. It is a fine decision, but we are going to give up this space because now this gal has that top right area. It is going to be a full reset. There is no tapping tower. There is no potential for staggering, and with 52 seconds and with losing the ability to get your final check off, it is looking rather dire for Cheese Factor here as these strikes push back the Crab, and we are forced to back up even further.
Yeah, things are looking scary for Cheese Factor. About less than 30 seconds left on the clock here, and 4 of a kind is not holding back. They want to push this tower as far away as they can, holding forward on all of these players of Cheese Factor. Now things are a little bit on the back foot for them. Cheese Factor pushing in here, trying to be aggressive, trying to live out the best they can and get things moving forward. Zuka is going to be used a little bit early here, but the main player they want to try to find quickly is going to be that Splash with the strikes. I don't believe they find them in time. Strikes will be launched on out. Can they stop any of these players from being forward enough to touch that tower? No, they will not. And 4 of a kind will put the last crown on the board, securing this game and set 5-1.
Yep, and that is going to put them solidly as the top seed of their group in playoffs as well. Going to give them a slightly easier round 1 in playoffs. That is huge for 4 of a kind. They are going to be solidly the best in their group, and really just great set overall here from both teams, but 4 of a kind taking it on top. 5-1 game count really doesn't show how close those 2 games on Splat Zones and Tower Control were. However, 4 of a kind, very dominant. Cactus?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you there. I mean, that was just truly an incredible display by both teams, really. That was such a close set in general, the score not telling truly what you have just witnessed. I mean, a lot of those games went down to the wire, down to that overtime, especially like the last game we just saw. I mean, great job by both teams putting in so much effort. Props to 4 of a kind for securing this set win to continue their onslaught win this Ludi season at Cheese Factor. Great effort. Fortunately, it wasn't enough this time, but there's always still hope.
Yes, of course. Ludi is not the end-all be-all. There's, of course, always other tournaments. There's LSLs to be had. There is FTIUs to be had. And, of course, looking forward to next Ludi season as well. There's, of course, much competition to be had in the future. And with this, though, 4 of a kind are looking to their future competition in the playoffs. And we are going to be seeing a Div 10 set next, Cactus.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to stay tuned for that. More Ludi action coming your way. We will switch on over to a short break just to get the next teams in, just to grab some water. So don't go anywhere. More Ludi coming your way.
Spoke too soon, apparently. We're not flipping the zone. Come on, guys, we're not flipping the zone. Information, a bit more control. Hydra just bowling and hello.
We're just gonna give more players power clams. That's exactly what's happening. So they got them all in. Oh my goodness.
Do you want to get started in competitive Splatoon, but don't know how to? The Stronghold offers a free Beginners Academy service for new players wanting to play Splatoon competitively. We want to make it as easy as possible for new players to join competitive. We'll create teams out of applicants and train you through a season providing scrims, practices, and coaching. At the end of the season, teams that graduate will play in their first community tournament. Graduating teams will be given a free logo and invited to play in the invite-only Academy Showcase event, where they get to play on stream and show off the skills they've learned in the Academy. So what are you waiting for? Apply for the Academy today using the link on screen.
Spoke too soon, apparently. We're not flipping the zone. Come on, guys, we're not flipping the zone. Information, a bit more control. Hydra just bowling and hello.
We're just gonna give more players power clams. That's exactly what's happening. So they got them all in. Oh my goodness.
Do you want to get started in competitive Splatoon, but don't know how to? The Stronghold offers a free Beginners Academy service for new players wanting to play Splatoon competitively. We want to make it as easy as possible for new players to join competitive. We'll create teams out of applicants and train you through a season providing scrims, practices, and coaching. At the end of the season, teams that graduate will play in their first community tournament. Graduating teams will be given a free logo and invited to play in the invite-only Academy Showcase event, where they get to play on stream and show off the skills they've learned in the Academy. So what are you waiting for? Apply for the Academy today using the link on screen.
Spoke too soon, apparently. We're not flipping the zone. Come on, guys, we're not flipping the zone. Formation a bit more control. Hydra just bowling and hello.
We're just gonna give more players power clams. That's exactly what's happening. So they got them all in. Oh my goodness.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Ludi Week 4. My name is Glitch Cactus, but you can call me Cactus, and joining me on the mic is Rave, and we have a very exciting set for you today. Eternal Bloom versus Crescent.
Yep. I personally have not looked at the groups, but I still am excited. We just saw the same maps will be played, and I'm wondering what different is going to happen. If it's going to be like a much closer set game count wise, or what kind of changes are we going to see if there's much of a difference between like Div 8 and Div 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see. My biggest thing is the weapon choices, right? A lot of times, you see in that kind of mid-level range when it comes to Division 5, 6 or so, you see a little bit of the meta choices bleed in from the top. But when you're down here into the lower divs of 8 to 10, things can get a little more wild, but a lot more entertaining, which is what I'm hoping to see from either of these teams today.
Yeah, it looks like we have 5 teams in the group with Eternal Bloom and Crescent, with both of these teams having a negative game set count at the moment, and that will potentially change. Eternal Bloom could potentially tie it up their set count to 2-2. We do have Eternal Bloom at 1-2 and Crescent at 0-2, so it is looking like potentially in Eternal Bloom's favor just by the numbers, just by what has happened in the past, but don't count out Crescent. They are looking to take their first games and first set of Ludi as well.
Absolutely. And of course, like we saw before, the best way to start it this week is, of course, going to be on our map selection of spot zones on Hagglefish Market. for both these teams again, for their comps that we're looking to see. Things that maybe hold those 10 areas, right? Things that maybe will have an easy time securing the zone for paint and holding a lot of space.
Cough Reef Slider from the tent, cough.
No, absolutely, right? Reef Slider, get those strikes in. Anything that just outputs so much paint for you, even though those are probably the best 2 options you could possibly bring with you.
At least in terms of the cheese and getting an Instacap, for sure. Whenever you mentioned easy ways to get zone, I was just, my brain instantly went to the Instacap tool.
No, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I wish I had a little bit more to say about these seems like their weapon choices, but I don't have too much with us. But hey, that's what we love about Sendu, right? Is that you're able to kind of click around and see what these players are running. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Crescent's side, and I'm seeing definitely a lot of uniqueness, right? They do have, from what I see, a bit of a mid to backline flex player that plays with either the heavy edit or ballpoint or some dually squelchers, some frontline aggression like dualies, shot, and potentially, depending on the player's play, you could potentially see a 52 or Luna, which I really find interesting.
Luna Blaster would be very, very interesting to see. At this level, I'm wondering how it would perform. Especially on tower control. Wondering, how would it go?
Especially after those recent buffs. It just does so much damage so quickly. It can hold so strong. Funny enough, looking on the other side too of Eternal Bloom, if you love the slight opportunity of 1 chance at Luna, how about 2? They also have a player that has the chance to flex over to a Luna Blaster or a Brush. Same thing running another play that maybe flexes to dualies, some aggro, midline, all over around. Looks like potentially double backline players as 1 player flexes in most of the backlines, whether it's Wallstring, Hydra, Leader, or Explo. The other looking at maybe Blob, or you have chances for 96 or Bladdershot Pro. Just overall, a lot of these players well flexed in many weapons, and that's exactly like I was saying earlier. I just love the diversity in the weapon choices here. We really could just see anything.
I want to see Blob. 96. I haven't seen that played in quite a bit. It would be a lovely change of pace.
Yeah, I think to me that'd be really fun, right? Especially Blob on this map, or just in general. Just the potential for 1 single Blob shot to just help with the assist and just steal the splat onto somebody is so exciting. And right now we're gonna see. I hope I'm seeing only single cooler. Or is that okay? Yes, that is the Crab heavy edit instead. So they're going with a lot more paint from the Zap instead, using the dually Dapple dualies for the Reef Slider on the side of Crescent. Eternal Bloom bringing out the Dynamo and an Ink Brush.
We love to see Dynamo here as a cooler option. We are not seeing any of the main 3 cooler options on the side of Eternal Bloom. And Eternal Bloom also going to go ahead and get this first push here. We see the Splash being extremely, extremely aggressive going into the plat. Is going to get punished by the Dapples, though, pretty immediately. And with only a Crab and a Dynamo to hold, this will be a very interesting Crab 1v1. Who wins? It looks like the blue is able to shred Crescent, but is going to go ahead and get 2v1 here and does get taken out by the Headed in that 2v1. Good punish on the side of Crescent here, and now they still need to get the zone cap. They are trying their best. They are clearly putting paint on the zone, but the Zap is going to go down to a well-rolled bomb from the Ink Brush, and with points ticking down, it's looking like Eternal Bloom is trying to close out this game really early.
That they are. Strikes are coming out to force the Crab away and the rest of the players as well. That Zip is going to try to do a number, but unfortunately not going to be enough. They're going to reside the zone. Is it going to be enough in timers? Dynamo going to be able to outpaint it as well, but no, they're going to rush on forward, go ahead and get 1 pick, make that delayed wipe on their end, and they're going to actually cap that zone, flip it over with a lot of players going on both sides, but they just bought themselves a bit more time.
Yeah, time to breathe. Time to get some specials. Time to respawn. Not time to breathe when you're getting whaled as a backline, though. This Headed struggling a little bit to get footing with that whale harassing them, they do have a crab able to be popped anytime, as well as Cooler. It looks like they are going to go ahead and position themselves and pop it, though one of their teammates goes down before they are able to get that support, and they do go ahead and get an assist on that enemy crab and are able to harass the Dynamo. But Eternal Bloom are going to go ahead and hold this zone and really try to put the pressure in, but they go down, getting the solid outrange and able to put some good damage on that crab is going to be huge for Crescent here.
That it is, and look at that. One player tries to rush on the Dynamo, something you should never do, because all it takes is that mid swing to completely punish you out. Unlike there with a Reflighter getting 2 as well. A lot of punishing going down on both ends. They will pick up this Cooler, and Crescent's going to see if they can keep this push going. Penalty points are now over. They're fully counted down. Duluth will try to go on and get 1 pick, but it won't be enough. They're going to see Eternal Bloom here cap that zone and try to cap it back over, but with the crab being on out to apply a lot more pressure, this zone might stay in their favor.
And Splash trying to get those strikes out is going to luckily live there from that Dapples before getting taken out by the enemy. Zap rushing in with Cooler is going to go down with Cooler. Sadly for their team, they are going to be back slow and not cooled up for a bit. The Zipcaster is looking to get charged, though. They're trying to go in, and they go immediately for the Dynamo, that backline, but it looks like there was an enemy to help the Splash, getting great shots on that Zipcaster, and a wipeout from the side of Eternal Bloom on Crescent. That is going to let the penalty tick down a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, great job so far by Crescent this game. Just applying a lot of this pressure here. The Brush barely getting the cancel out on that Reflighter. They were weak enough that they will end up getting the assist for that pick at the end there. This Brush trying to stay alive with the crab taking them out from a nice side angle. Trying to apply pressure and try to put the zone at a standstill, but it's not going to be enough. Eternal Bloom only a couple more points to go, unless the members of Crescent could try to push on forward and stop it. But it won't be enough. Eternal Bloom securing game number 1.
Yeah, and it was looking extremely dominant, but Crescent has some life in them. They have some fighting. Unfortunately, they are going to get knocked out there, putting Eternal Bloom in the lead and also looking to, of course, go into the next game with that game 1 momentum.
Yeah, I mean, they had an incredible start in the beginning, and they were able to keep it rolling, and that's exactly what they did that whole game. A couple times Crescent got pretty close, but unfortunately not enough. But thankfully that is going to be zones over with for now. Now an opportunity for a game maybe a little bit slower of pace, depending on how you can get it going in your advantage. It's gonna be tower control on Mako Mart.
Yeah, tower control. We got these stacks. We're going to have a lot of flanks on both teams' back lines, and we're going to have a lot of movement around these stacks. With paintable walls on all sides, it's really good for movement. It's really good for being able to stay hidden on any of those walls from the opposing side. And it's just really good to have that high ground. Being able to drop from any direction at any time is just really strong, and it leads to a lot of fights ending up happening on there, kind of before even really touching the tower, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, both of these teams have comps that can do fairly well against each other when it comes to taking that space. The specials, though, I'm curious to see if we'll see any switch ups, right? Obviously, Dapples with the Reflighter maybe opens up that space in mid if you need it. I'm not sure how fair it will do against a lot of these ledges, though. You're looking for more of those ledge poking weapons and specials overall on something like this, using maybe something like the crabs, which was really good. Definitely a Zipcaster as a counter for any specials popped. So it'll be interesting to see if any comp changes are going to be coming out from either side.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there will be any swords like last set that we just got finished watching with double sword comp. That was very interesting. Or, of course, if we're going to see any flexes to Luna. This is tower control, and you did mention we have 2 potential players out of these 8 that are able to go ahead and pick Luna. Really looking forward to any Luna gaming.
Yes, absolutely. They'd be able to poke those ledges just fine. But let's see what these teams are going to decide to bring on out. We're going to see the S-Blast actually pop on out. And the Hydra with a paintbrush switching on out as well from the side of Eternal Blue. So I love these switch ups in these weapons. We did switch to the cooler heavy edit on the side of Crescent. So this is going to be an interesting counter to see what can be played here as missiles are launching onto the field.
Yeah, we've got them having to scatter all around and getting a lot of value. One going down right as the missiles are being sent, and now a 3v1 on this Dualies, but the Dualies does live on the side of a Crescent miraculously with the fact that there were 3 people on that right stack, but they are going to go ahead and get this crab on the tower, grazing towards that checkpoint, but this Inkbrush flank is going to really try and stop that push. It looks like a little bit of a disconnect. The Dualies didn't quite realize they were there, and that is going to give Eternal Bloom all of mid control back.
Yep, absolutely. They do see this brush coming out from behind. They are going to try to spot it out in time, making sure they're spaced themselves away from it. It's actually being a really great distraction. They get one. Tower is going to get past this first checkpoint. A little bit of even playing field for players on it. It's pretty much now a 1v1 situation as one player is going to jump on in for the side of Crescent on the defensive side. Right now, Crescent needs to look to see if they could take this mid-control, take care of this tower moving forward, and try to get a pushback for this first checkpoint themselves.
Yeah, it was a great checkpoint fun for Eternal Bloom, and they're going to be able to set up here. The Brush going to take out the heavy edit. The Hydra, you really don't see Hydra much, but now we have 3 up on the side of Eternal Bloom in comparison to everyone on Crescent from spawn. This is going to be a good setup push now. They do not have to wait at that checkpoint. They can just march right through as they take out 3 on the side of Crescent. Someone needs to get on the tower, though, or they will not have that objective play. We do have the flanking Dualies going to suddenly just appear behind this heavy edit, get that pick, and try to set up Plat as well. Going to get taken out by the Brush, and the Brush drops the Brush, and the Brush fights the Brush, and they trade!
In classic Brush fashion, right? Both just getting that pickup. That's exactly how I imagined every Brush v Brush mode to happen. Booyah will come on out and attack these Dualies. Will they get the trail in time? No! The Dualies actually survive by using their dodge rolls to their advantage and backing up. Brush gets taken care of by the Zap, who does still have Cool Air. They are going to toss it down here close to mid, get the rest of their team to pick it up, and they're still going to push this tower forward.
Little bit of an unfortunate drop there from the S-Blast. Not sure if they wanted to or if it was just an accident, but we are also going to have the Dualies diving. We are now seeing a Dualies off, and they also trade. We are seeing trades from the same weapons, and this is so funny to watch. We have the S-Blast now trying to push the tower. Does go ahead and go down to that paintbrush on the drop. Eternal Bloom really still holding this, like in 2v2 they have the advantage here because they still have tower very pushed up, and with these missiles making the enemy scatter, it's also going to help, though they are deciding to wait to be able to missile all 4 of them, kind of trying to hope and win this team fight, have this location. They are able to push out that flank, just kill that S-Blast with the help of the missiles location. Very good for Eternal Bloom.
Yeah, you know, you having those missiles waited for all 4 players just to be able to spot them out. Ideally, you want to try to call them out in that situation just to push them back. Now there's the paintbrush on that right side, a bit of a superstar there, getting 2 players down, holding that right stack all to themselves. I believe assisting with those Dualies, and it's going to be Eternal Bloom continuously pushing this tower once again. We are going to see that Brush on the left side push on in. Booyah Bomb takes care of the front end half, so that way no players can push on forward. But with that back turned to that ramp, the Zap will go on down, and it's just a brawl right now in a mid as Crescent's just trying to take control of mid finally after Eternal Bloom has had it for just so long into this game.
Yeah, and with 1 minute left, they haven't even really been able to get past that first checkpoint or even really push it much at all. It's just Eternal Bloom showing dominance in all of the fights. It feels like there's been so many times where Crescent has been 3 down, and it's due to losing those key fights, not even necessarily team fights, but just their one-on-ones. It's definitely being hard for them to push tower, losing that man advantage so often.
Yeah, things are looking pretty dicey for Crescent. They're not really able to find some footing. Just look at that map as we saw that jump over from the dualies. So much purple all over the ground. Only the heavy edit remaining. Pop a cooler for themselves here, trying to apply a lot of pressure to this tower. They're able to find a little bit of a halt to it as the rest of the team will come on back in. Dualies rushing that tower. They will get the dualies down. Fortunately, the S-Bots goes down on that right stack. Dualies rushing into the Hydra, but they go down as well. Missiles coming out, forcing the heavy edit away and out of position with only 2 seconds left on the clock. That is going to secure the game for Eternal Bloom.
Yeah, they're trying to take this set. They're trying to take every game that they can, trying to even up their set count to 2-2 because they are wanting, of course, to make playoffs. This is a group of 5 teams, and it is looking very difficult for Eternal Bloom to be able to make playoffs, but every game and every set will count at the end of the day. Next, we have Rainmaker Undertow. Cactus, I kind of already know your thoughts on this from earlier. But how do you think Hydra or Luna Blaster may fare on this map?
I mean, this is a case where I don't know, really am not too sure how this is going to hold up, right? Eternal Bloom, if they bring out this Hydra again, this has a lot of potential to maybe not get pop in the beginning, right? But you're able to put a lot of pressure with that weapon. Now, obviously, they may decide to be the player that picks up the Rainmaker, or it could be really anybody. I'm curious to see how these players are kind of are planning this out about who's going to pick up the Rainmaker and who's just going to lead the charge. But I feel like this is Crescent's opportunity to maybe start looking to switch things around here, right? I mean, their comms are pretty solid. They have the right mindset and idea. If you do decide to bring out the Missile Paintbrush on the side of Eternal, we're going to see a little bit of stall until maybe it's all 5 that mark up, both 4 players and the Rainmaker, when needing to be popped. So, to be honest, I feel like this game could go either way. What about you, though, Grave?
I'll be looking out for those Inkbrush flanks because with that uninkable ramp, Inkbrush will not care that it is uninkable. They will just walk right past it really quickly and be able to get flanks on enemy backlines, on anyone just trying to shark, anyone just trying to chill and protect the final checkpoint. So I'm interested from both sides because that could happen from both Paintbrush or Inkbrush on either team's side.
Yes, I completely forgot about that. Right, that's right. The regular ink brush or the paintbrush from either side here has the potential to just use those flanks to their advantage. And you know what? There's potential for it to cause a lot of mayhem, or even shark or flank to take that Rainmaker if any team decides to let it reset to bring it on forward. But without any more speculation going forward, let's take a look at these comps here. Okay, we are seeing a Forge Splattershot Pro with Petras with some Reef Slider and a Sploosh! Okay, now we're in business.
Yeah, we'll have the flanking Sploosh at some point, I'm sure. So, some absolute distraction play going on here. They are going to get popped with that huge Sploosh damage at the beginning, narrowly avoiding death from a Splat Bomb, but Eternal Bloom is going to be the first to go down. No cooler online for them for quite some time.
Yeah, that's right. We are going to see now Rainmaker get picked up immediately by Crescent. 2 players going down. Make that 3 on Eternal Bloom. It's going to be Crescent now rushing for this right checkpoint as they see as a quick opportunity. Do they make it in time? Can they get on top of it? It's not painted all the way. And unfortunately, that not being painted caused them to not get that checkpoint as they had a delayed wipe early on to Eternal Bloom. Just trying to sneak it away, holding on forward, just not enough.
Yep. They are not going to get that check, and they are going to now have cooler online on the side of Eternal Bloom. They do go ahead and trade 2 for 1, which is going to be really helpful for them, especially if the enemy was without cooler. It looks like they were, so they are back extremely slow. That is going to allow Eternal Bloom to have this man advantage, and they do go ahead and get another 2 down, which is really going to allow them to push whichever direction they want. They are able to get a lot of paint on this map, and they are once again able to keep them 2 down. I feel like I'm saying 2 down so much, and they just have such control over Crescent. Even with that first push, it looking like Eternal Bloom gets the first checkpoint for the first time, and we are almost to another cooler, but unfortunately a bomb on that Rainmaker shield. We do have the flanking Inkbrush here, making that Hydra scatter. looks like the Hydra did disappear and get away, whether it was a jump out or just a sneaky swim, but that is going to be a defense for Crescent, successful.
Yeah, that was a very great defense play. Fortunately, though, Eternal of Bloom is not wasting any time against these players. And that Booyah Bomb, I'm pretty sure it got more than one there. And they're going to pick up this Rainmaker immediately and try to get a lot more points on the board besides just the 2 that they have for this checkpoint. They do sense a player flanking behind them from those shots. There is going to be a Reef-Slider coming on in. It's not going to get the potential. It's going to get a teammate instead, but they're just running this Rainmaker forward all the way down to 16 points, and that will be the final player going down. Crescent taking that wipeout, painting up for some space, have a Booyah online ready to go, but they have quite a ways to go if they want a chance at a lead.
Yeah, 16 is a very, very defendable push, and with Eternal Bloom getting there so like halfway through the game, it looks like they've got really a lot of stalling to do, and they've been able to do that, whether intentional or not, with all of their huge fight wins throughout the set. And so I do believe we will be seeing many more of those fight wins.
Absolutely. You know, I haven't really seen the Sploosh do many splooshy things, except maybe we're going to see right here, trying to go and rush to grab this Rainmaker, but they got spotted out and called out by the Brush. Brush looking for another one, but we'll get pretty much tied into a 3v1 situation and gets picked off from 3 different angles there. Rainmaker's in a pretty rough spot if you are Crescent. Thankfully, we'll reset here. Cooler will be popped though for Eternal of Bloom, and they're looking to take space as Dooley gets 1, and it's going to try to shred this Booyah, but realize danger situation, gotta get out of there.
Danger, danger. I am alone trying to shred this Booyah, and we do see the Rain trying to have another runaway moment, going to go ahead and get picked off by the enemy Doolies. But we also have the Sploosh trying to do Sploosh things. They are using the high damage value there to go ahead and get pop, and with Hammer, they are really pressuring Crescent here.
Yeah, a lot of pressure being applied. It's going to be 2 players down on the side of Crescent, but thankfully a dive from one of those players will stop that Rainmaker, but it won't, I'm not sure if it'll be enough. Okay, thankfully we do see, I believe that's the Forge. I was able to get another pick out. They will Booyah Bomb here, try to force out the Hydra and back them up all the way. Now they're taking a lot of mid space with less than a minute to go, and they are going to let that Rainmaker reset.
That is going to be a good reset for them, as they are going to need to not move that Rainmaker themselves. They are trying to set up in mid, but it looks like Eternal Bloom is going to get that pop. I'm seeing so much yellow on the map here from the side of the Hydra. There is very little chance for them to even really get in.
Yeah, and you saw that they tried to pick up that Rainmaker with 30 seconds left to go. They got picked off immediately there. We're going to see a little bit of a fight on the side here. They will Booyah, and they're going to try to Booyah these duelists, but they will use their dodge roll to their advantage and get on out of there. Here comes the Hammer trying to lay it on down. They're going to try to throw it. Oh, but they end up trading it off as they go down to a Splat Bomb. Looks like they really want to get this right checkpoint, but they only have about 10 seconds to go. Can they get it in time? They do. They break through it, but without the players fully being there, are they able to grab it in time and pop this Rainmaker? Overtime has started, but no. Eternal Bloom will pick it up as they were the ones to get the pop, and now they are leading 3-0 in this set.
Very, very strong stuff from Eternal Bloom. They are really trying to scare out this 5-0, and they are showing such dominance in all the fights, all of the one-on-ones, all of the team fights, and being able to take 2v1s. Just everything about this shows that they are really being the primary competitor here.
Yeah, I mean, it seems once they're able to get solidified early on, Eternal Bloom goes for a maximum point gain possible and just hold a lot of defense to just really never stop pushing, you know? And I honestly, for a mode like that, that's the name of the game. You're just able to just make it really hard for at least your Crescent to find any footing themselves and be able to push on back. Something that they might try to carry over here, as we're going to be looking at Clam Blitz on Scorch Gorge.
I do love me some Clam Blitz. I am very ready to see how this Clam Blitz goes. I'm wanting to see who is the Clam Collector. I will have my eyes on them.
I'm curious to see if do we bring back out the Paintbrush, or do we say Sploosh? What do you think?
I think Paintbrush is going to be a lot stronger in terms of man, that buff really helped it out. And if you hit them one time, they are surely going to die because it is just so fast now. Between all of the swings, it feels like you are getting hit no matter what. Those second, third, and fourth times, especially with the paint underneath your feet from the first hit.
Yeah, that's true, and especially if they decide to use the missile paintbrush, that's going to be able to put a lot of players on Crescent further back, right? That's going to be able to cause a lot more damage, and honestly, we could see, maybe not so much, actually, yes, we could see the potential of what either the paintbrush or the brush on either side use the great area as a flank route to try to score from behind if no one's paying close attention to it, especially if you don't have either your any splatling on that snipe area. This could be a huge opportunity for a lot of flanks to get carried on out.
Yeah, for sure. That Grates is definitely an underrated and underused opportunity to flank to get onto the enemy plat and really secure an off angle for a push, kind of grabbing attention and grabbing people to come back through all the way like through their elbow to just be back in such a bad position. The flanks are very interesting here.
Yeah, right. It's not usually your usual flanks. You don't have a lot of close further away corners you could flank from. It's just kind of right out in the open, and you're really just hoping that you have the player advantage to just draw the attention away to take care of it. But it looks like we're going to see the Dapples come on back out. We're going to switch to a splatter shot. And of course, the Forge stays with the heavy edit, but we are going to see Hydra pop on out. We're going to see a Brush returning for Eternal Bloom. A lot of pressure to be applied. We do have a Neo Splash for those strikes, and why not add some dualies on with a Crab for more pressure to be applied. Right off the bat, Eternal Bloom using those strikes to try to open up more space. A lot of challenges going on down. One down on both sides in this first game neutral.
And it looks like they are going to go ahead and have Eternal Bloom with the man advantage. We have the dualies with 5 clams and the opposing head it with 7. We are going to be seeing a lot more fights, though. There does not seem to be any sneaky things happening right now. We do go ahead and get the shot offline, and with no Zuka to combat the Crab, this Crab is going to be massive unless this Forge is able to get behind sneakily, and 2 people are actually using the top tower, able to take out both the Hydra, but not quite the Crab. And we're going to have to pop Booyah here to try and hold this position.
Yeah, that Booyah Bomb being popped just to hold that top mid. Try to catch any players coming around. They will see someone trying to take their Grace and get them off. That Forge turning around, getting another player. This is going to be a player advantage. Can they get the Hydra as well? It will be a trade-off. Zuka will be popped out to control and get another player, but unfortunately, this bomb from this splash actually getting one player from top mid, and this looks like it's about to be a delayed wipeout onto Crescent. That, you know, huge advantage they had, just fumbled back on down. It's going to be Eternal Bloom with a power claim looking to push on forward.
Yeah, and they're trying to get those strikes so that they'll be able to push themselves in with that ball, trying to really get all of that elbow really painted. But it looks like we're going to have 2 people dropping, seeing those strikes, and the Splash capitalizing on it, going to get it. One knows the other is there, gets 2, but then dropped on by the Dapples. We do no longer have this ball and able to score. However, we are still pushing the head it. And not the Dapples, though. The Dapples have been living rent-free by the ball and are able to camp it, making it completely die. And with jumps is also going to help go ahead and take out the rest of Eternal Bloom. Huge play from the Crescent Dapples here. They do end up finally going down, but it was a great stall from them and really keeping that push from starting.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, you know, we are about halfway through this game, and neither team has attempted to score once, or at least get close enough to, besides Eternal Bloom before. And wow, right out of the Crab too, able to get a pick on that Forge. We are looking to see if we can get a push here on Eternal Bloom. Tricks will come on out, but dualies will go down to the Dapples. And this push that Eternal Bloom has been constantly trying to make has been unsuccessful. Booyah Bomb, though, this might be the opportunity. Delayed wipeout. Booyah Bomb goes in, takes another player out with it. And here we go. The floodgates are open. Eternal Bloom scoring on down. Another power climb on its way in if they could just live and toss it in. And that they will. 39 points onto the board. Hydra goes down. Dualies trade off with the Forge, trying to see if they can get any more points in this Brush. They will get one more, but get picked off. Crescent trying to hold a strong defense to stop this push from going any further.
Yeah, and 33 with 33 penalty, they're going to need a huge push to be able to really mark down any of that penalty. It's going to take a lot to be scoring any more points, so they're really going to be looking to play defense, though we do have this aggressive dualies right now. Going to go ahead and go down Crescent. Going to be 2 men down to Eternal Bloom, and with Eternal Bloom sitting comfortably with this lead, all they really have to do is keep up, paint up, look at those flanks, and keep on winning the fights like they have been this whole set.
Yeah, keeping those fight advantages up in the air right here, especially another one going down here. You're going to keep Crescent in a bad situation. And right now, Crescent, on the defensive side, here comes this whale, but you want to look to try to keep as many players of your own up as you can and stop any of these pushes from going in. But the Brush will make a leap of faith there and score that power clam, as you do have both 2 players now from Eternal Bloom bringing more in. They will get it down to 28. It will be 3 players down for Crescent. Just a shot trying to hold the front lines down, but they'll get picked off as well. Hydra's got 3 clams to their name, trying to score. Duels go down again. Do they score it in time to keep the basket open? No, they do not. But these dualies are being relentless, constantly going in and getting so many of these fantastic picks.
We're having hilarious numbers here. We have 22 with 22 penalty now, and these same numbers are just making me crack up. The other day, I took a screenshot of like all the same number in Clamblitz. Anyway, though, we have more scores. The 22 is gone. They're looking to knock out, and Eternal Bloom are just 1 clam away from knocking out here. We see the Hydra trying to get in, and they do get the knockout. That is going to be Eternal Bloom taking the game and going up 4-0 on Crescent.
Oh man, I love that Brush trying to take that leap off the map there as they score the last one, trying to live with that booyah and go out their own route, but fortunately not the way it is. Now Hydra barely tossing up enough paint on that ledge there to go right on in. Yeah, Eternal Bloom with a knockout in game number 4, secures 4 games in a row, and they are now 1 game away, make it set match point before they win this best of 9.
Yeah, they are absolutely looking to secure that 5-0. They would like to see this. They want to get this victory over with and pat themselves on the back, have a well-deserved break before dinner.
Yeah, absolutely, right? That is the goal here. And if you're on the side of Crescent, I mean, you have pretty much every map mode remaining. If you want a chance to turn this around, and I mean, it's been done before. I'm just certain of it. It is just going to be very challenging, but it's gonna have to start just like how we started this set, back onto zones, but this time on Barnacle and Dime.
Yeah, I'm interested just to see if they are going to stick heavy, because Hydra, it really seems like it may struggle on this map normally.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm curious if the comp change for the backline might be of use here, just to try to keep things consistent and challenged up. But Eternal Bloom, it's one of those things. If most of what's been working for you, keep at it. They've only really changed 1 or 2 weapons each game that we've seen. On the side of Crescent, though, I feel like we haven't seen too much of a consistent switch up. But it really comes down to how they're using maybe their resources to try to push back the members of Eternal Bloom if they want opportunity. And we saw the first zone game as well. It was very close between both these sides. Eternal Bloom had just gotten a lot more points. So Crescent just needs the opportunity to really open those gates back up and just keep that defense holding strong on the offensive line. And they might just be able to take this game.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see if we do have any spicy weapon picks, any last-ditch efforts to really get the edge on Eternal Bloom here from Crescent. Seeing if there's any game plan changes, any gameplay changes at all, or if we will just be seeing Eternal Bloom's dominance reign.
Yeah, and all it takes is just 1 more game for them to make this a 5-0 sweep. I mean, they're feeling pretty good, I imagine, right? You're already 4 games up. First 1 or 2 were a little hasty, but, match point underway. This is the last game they need to secure this win. Comp's coming on now, and we are looking at Triple Blob. You know what? They're going down just having fun, and I love that. When in doubt, blob it out.
The zone will be so painted until they're dead, and they will be blobbing all over this map. We will have so many storms this game. We do still keep the zap for Cooler, as Cooler is noticeably extremely important for these blobs to be back, but with no Cooler going down, if these blobs go down, they will not be back fast. They'll be back so slow. But the second storm coming out, they are able to hold the zone. These double storms are just storming the zone and are able to really help take out that Dualies as well. Unfortunately, the zap is going to go down again, not going to have that Cooler. And with no more storm or any really paint from the spawn helping them charge those specials, it is now going to be looking very difficult for the blobs to be able to secure this zone or retake or anything of the sort. We do have 2 blobs going down. The zap is on the flank right now, but does go down to the Hydra. And now it is looking like it's going to be very difficult for Crescent to get back in.
You know, if the zap just didn't hold forward and got Cooler, I think this game could go a lot more different. But unfortunately, these blobs are now falling like dominoes here, as well as with the zap. Eternal Bloom has pretty much secured the positioning they wanted. It's very hard to get back in, not even just with 1 blob, but imagine 3. I'm not sure how they can find a way back into this. They're popping the storm. They're trying to blob over everything, but it might not be enough. Zone will get held just a little bit, but down goes another. But they are able to actually flip that zone back over, and they're trying to hold on to it, but a lot of these painters are still up on Eternal Bloom. So another Booyah Bomb gets tossed on out, gets 1, and another falling suit. So a flanking blob will go down, and that will be the wipeout. Eternal Bloom now. Number advantage, paint advantage, and space advantage.
Yeah, this Hydra's going to set up here on the plat, try to not let any sneaky little zaps go into zone or any blobs really drop. They have like this height advantage, as well as, of course, a very long charge to be able to kill these blobs. The storm is going to come out, going to slowly go over zone. We see the paint. It's really helping, and they are able to get cap and apply penalty again with good picks on both the Dualies and the Hydra.
I really hope this zap gets their first Cooler of the game here. I'm waiting for it. I need to see it. Please live. Yes, they live. Get it down. Yes, we have Cooler. This push could be so much better and keep going further. They have a 2-player number advantage, trying to make it 3, but unfortunately the crab will be popped on out. Blobs now throwing everything over at the Legends. All the players of Eternal Bloom are on that ramp section. A lot of paint trying to get put out. Booyah Bomb will try to cause a lot more space to be opened up from the Hydra, but it looks like it's not just enough just yet to hold that cap. They're almost out of penalty points. Zap will go down, though, and that will be the zone flip coming out from Eternal Bloom as the numbers just go on down. Wipe out on the screen once again.
We have Storms looking to neutralize, however, it is not going to be enough, and we have once again the flanking zap coming in against this Dualies. The Dualies sees them, has both the Dualies and the opposing zap on this zap, going to take out in that 2v1, and now we have just the 3 blobs. Once again, how are they going to get in? It's very difficult. They have 1 storm on zone. Can they cheese the zone for a 4th or 5th time? We do have the flanking blob now on the enemy plat. Is going to be able to draw attention, get the crab to look behind. Is it going to be enough, though? They do splat 1. The crab is not looking forward, and there is a neutralize as well. But with strikes coming out, that is going to go ahead and give cap back to Eternal Bloom, and they are going to take the set 5-0 over Crescent.
I don't even know what I just watched, but yeah, you know what? Go down swinging and have fun while doing it. Crescent unable to secure that game for themselves, so it is going to go to Eternal Bloom, securing 5 straight wins in a row, winning themselves this week's Ludi set.
Yeah, they're evening out their set count, and they must be proud. They had a very strong showing today. And even being able to really show that they know how to deal with Blob. They know the counterplay. If you're struggling with Blob, I would greatly suggest reaching out to Eternal Bloom.
Just hope that the other team, Zap, just decides to go into the zone constantly and cause some mayhem, and you have it under lock. But yeah, they did a great job there, especially, you know, unsure how that was going to run for them at first. It got a little dicey. 3 blobs and a zap, all pitting that zone. You had it for about 30 points. But Eternal Bloom found their way through it all and brought it all the way back for a knockout.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. They had those beginning storms. The storms, of course, helped them with that beginning cap, but then holding it past that is going to be so difficult without any way to really secure picks or, you know, have the next special, because you do get that first special from a lot of the spawn paint, from a lot of the paint that you're getting on the way to mid, and you get to use the special. But if it's only getting zone and you, of course, have the enemies still painting zone, they will eventually get that back. Regardless, though, great set, fought amazingly from both sides, and Eternal Bloom, congratulations on your Ludi victory. Cactus, where can the lovely people find you?
The lovely people could find me on pretty much all my socials at Glitched Cactus. You could find me sometimes here on the Dapples channel, streaming my podcast, The Cactus Patch, or on my own Twitch streams where I'm streaming every single day of this year. As a self-goal and challenge. But Brave, been fantastic commentating with you. Where can the people find you?
They can find me. I'm primarily on Twitter at Brave_SSB. I do not have a Blue Sky, but definitely look out for, I suppose, tweets. That's really all I do, though. And so I'm looking. I hadn't heard that you'll be streaming every day. That's a very lofty goal. Good luck. You're only about a quarter through the year. I wish you luck. That sounds very hard. I would not be able to. But with that, I believe that is all. And thank you for tuning into stream. Thank you for tuning into today's Ludi matches. Cactus, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's gonna be everything from me as well. You rounded up the best. So, yep, thank you all so much for tuning into these Ludi matches today. We'll see you next time.